my little sister.
Hey.
And she gets to pick what we're going to be watching today. What do you want to watch?
Kitty Attack.
Kali, come on. What do you want to watch? Tell me. Tell me what you want to watch. Oh, remember this? Let's watch this first. And then we'll put
Google Fi, a phone plan by Google. Only pay for the data you use with Google Fi's flexible plan.
And today we're going to look, recappers, how we doing? Today we're going to look at Central Intelligence.
So, I messed up. So, this is something that me and my little sister here has watched in the past. And if you guys, there's spoilers ahead, and if you guys haven't seen it, I wouldn't recommend watching it, but it's still a pretty good movie. And if you can, watch it. If you like it, comment down below how much you like it, 1 out of 10, how much you want to do. And then like and subscribe, and yeah, and comment down.
Hey there, my fellow recappers, how we doing? Today we're going to look at Central Intelligence. 20 years since high school. Once the school all-star, Calvin Joyner's life is in a free fall until an old high school acquaintance reappears, and he's drawn into a world of espionage. Spoilers ahead. We open on a high school. Robbie's showering in the boys' locker room when a group of bullies...
See, I won't really have to explain it since this guy is, so, yeah.
...grabs him mid-shower. In the gym, Calvin's getting praised by the entire school.
As we all know, this is our last assembly.
But this moment in the spotlight is taken over by the bully shoving a naked Robbie into the gymnasium in front of everyone. Calvin and his girlfriend Maggie are the only ones who don't laugh.
Well, there's no coming back from that.
With Calvin giving him his jacket to cover up as he runs away. So 20 years later, the most likely to succeed isn't doing much succeeding. Calvin's life has stopped. He's a low-level accountant who hates his job. At lunch with his high school sweetheart Maggie, his wife now, Calvin suffers through his coworkers celebrating his former assistant's promotion at another table. Maggie tries to change the subject by showing pictures of the dress she plans on wearing to their 20-year reunion, but Calvin admits he doesn't want to go. The two argue for a bit when Maggie takes offense to the idea that his life is so awful.
Don't do that.
That's the sound.
So Calvin returns to work and goes on Facebook. After looking at the event for the reunion, he gets a friend request from Bob Stone. He's confused, but confirms it anyways. And as he does so, his phone rings. He's freaked out, but answers, and realizes it's Maggie. He apologizes, and she suggests they go to counseling. He says they don't need it, and while she tries to explain why she thinks it's a good idea, he starts receiving texts from Bob Stone. He says he's in town for the reunion and wants to meet up with Calvin. He asks Bob who he is, while agreeing with Maggie to counseling. Well, Bob Stone reveals that it's actually Robbie from high school, and he's shocked. When she suggests that they go later that night...
See, yeah. I think he changed his name because I'm not 100% sure. And, yeah.
It's been a while.
He says he can't because he has plans. She asks with who, and he tells her Bob Stone. But she thinks it's a fake name, and he explains it's actually Robbie.
Sounds like a fake name.
It takes her a moment to realize who he's talking about, but once she knows, she says okay to him going out, and she'll reschedule. So Calvin goes to the bar, and is approached by an incredibly fit man who he doesn't know. Then the man reveals himself to be Bob Stone, a.k.a. Robbie Weirdict. Calvin's shocked. Before we go on, like the video, smash the subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell to get that full day of...
Your house will be haunted at the end.
Yeah, so there's also another YouTuber who's doing this, so I'm not trying to do copyright rights or anything, but subscribe to this one and his if you know him. And like both the videos, because I know I am. See? Liked.
Luck. The two catch up, and Calvin's thrown off by Bob's off-kilter demeanor. They talk about work, and Bob reveals he was a federal contractor before being fired. After convincing Calvin for some shots, Bob leaves to go get him when a man tries to take his seat.
Shots! One shot.
At first, Calvin stands up for himself, before realizing it's a bad idea. When Bob returns, he beats the hell out of him, and the two leave. So the two visit their old high school. Bob relives his horrible moments. And Calvin gets sad by his present not living up to his past.
Kylie.
In an attempt to hype Calvin up, Bob convinces him to do his famous
Quickly.
backflip.
Am I
It goes horribly wrong.
I'm not gonna stop until you do the golden jet flip.
The two return to Calvin's place, where Bob asks him for a favor sorting out a parole issue. Calvin agrees, but doesn't realize what Bob means now. Inside, he looks over the account and sees millions of dollars and offshore accounts all around the world. When his computer starts freaking out, Bob knocks a bear on it, which short-circuits the device. He then asks if he can stay the night, to which Calvin agrees.
This is blowing my mind.
So in the morning, he walks into a lounge that looks like a bomb went off. Calvin hears the knocks at the door and goes to see who it is. And it's the CIA. They ask if he's had any contact with Bob, and Calvin says yes, he's on the couch. They walk in and find a clean living room. No Bob. Calvin asks what's going on, and is told that Bob is wanted for murder, treason, and currently has state secrets he intends.
So, little spoils. He was not. His partner's death was fraud. So, there was a bomb put inside a bag with a whole bunch of guts and whatnot, as will be so shown in the video. So, yeah.
To sell to U.S. adversaries. He tells him she needs to know everything he knows about Agent Stone. And he's thrown off by the word agent. He tries to tell her he doesn't even know Bob. Well, this is questioned when it's revealed that Bob had him as every emergency contact necessary on all his forms. Calvin's floored. The stranger from high school has now wrapped him up in something serious. He tries to explain himself, but Agent Harris has taken his flustered state as an indication that he's hiding something. She tells him to prove he's not aligned with Bob Stone, and he says he'll need a minute.
I got to go. Just give me a second, man.
So now at Calvin's office, they all walk through, to which Maggie calls. Agent Harris tells him to tell her nothing. Maggie confirms the appointment with their therapist, and he ends the call quickly. Agent Harris tells him she's trained to identify speech patterns, and Maggie's unfulfilled and wants a baby. So Calvin's having an intense day. The second call to come through is Bob. He says he's in trouble and in the stairwell. Agent Harris and her crew go after him and tell Calvin to hide in his office. Once back inside, Bob's there. He asks what the hell's going on as Bob acts like they planned on getting the CIA to leave the office. Calvin keeps trying to get answers but isn't getting anything out of Bob. He proceeds to take Calvin's tie off after calling an Uber. He asks Bob again what's going on, and instead of an answer, he's asked if he's in or out. Well, he says out. And then Bob tells him it doesn't matter because he's already in. Bob stands on the desk and puts the tie on the sprinkler. Calvin reiterates that he's out.
I'm out.
And Bob says, okay, before setting the tie on fire and saying the only way to get out is by getting in first. Then he tries to give Calvin his gun. So what does he do? Runs and screams that Bob is there. Now everyone in the office looks at Calvin before Bob tackles him to the ground as agents enter the room. Bob pretends Calvin's a hostage. Don't think Calvin's pretending. He fires his gun and a war in the office starts between the agents and Bob. Calvin tries to run but is scooped up in a mail cart. Bob takes on all the agents with virtually no issues. It's only when one gets the upper hand and wraps a cord around his neck that he's truly struggling. He asks Calvin for help, who's just picked up a gun, but then he starts fighting with an agent and inadvertently shoots the weapon at the guy strangling Bob, releasing him. The agent tries to arrest Calvin now because apparently he doesn't have more pressing matters. Bob knocks him out, puts Calvin in the mail cart, and begins running towards the exit. He's met by a group of agents, including Agent Harris. Two talk for a moment as she tells him to turn himself in. Calvin tries to rescue himself, and ultimately Bob plots an escape.
I got a plan.
The sprinklers go off. He throws a flash grenade and runs with Calvin through the window, landing on the gorilla. Calvin has no choice but to jump into the Uber because they're shooting at him too. So they escape, and Bob explains himself. An enemy of the state, Black Badger, stole encryption keys to the whole U.S. spyware system, which he intends to sell to a...
So yeah. And if you guys want to, you guys can continue the video. I will be watching it as well. So if you guys haven't already left, thank you for watching. And hope you like the rest of this.
buyer. If successful, the U.S. is powerless at stopping attacks. He tells Calvin that he needs his help solving the final piece of the puzzle to figure out where the deal's going down. Calvin doesn't care. He still wants out. He tells Bob to stop the car, but Bob takes it to get off the grid. Calvin tries to prepare to have a rational conversation with Bob, and he tells him he wants to go home. But Bob lets him know that, considering he's wanted, they need to clear their names.
I would like to go home now, please.
So now Calvin, frustrated, tells him that he was told that he stole the codes, but Bob denies it. Instead, he's told Harris is trying to frame him for his partner's death. He explains that him and his partner, Phil, were on a mission together, tracking this supposed black badger to a penthouse apartment. They parted ways, and then the elevator exploded, killing him. He tried to save him, but he couldn't. The two are attacked by a guy.
See, that's, you know how he just said that the elevator exploded? Not true. That's fake.
On a motorbike, who serves Bob with some rubber to the face. He's thrown off his bike when Bob throws a metal pipe into the wheels, and Calvin decides the bike's a great escape for him. He hightails out of there, leaving Bob to fight alone.
I've got backup. Ain't that right, Jet?
He phones up Maggie, telling her they can meet at the therapist's office instead of their place. He's trying to act calm, but she can tell he's acting strange. So now at the therapist, he's met by Harris. She makes him get into the van. Harris tells him that she knows he's innocent. She asks if he knows how Bob's partner died, and he says that the Black Badger killed him. But he's informed that Bob is the Black Badger. Scandalous. She recants the story, but this version shows Bob happily betraying his partner. She continues to tell him that the only way Bob sells the codes is with Calvin's help, and because he's the only person Bob trusts. It's for these reasons that they're putting Calvin in the field. Damn, all this because he gave him a jacket in high school. Well, Harris gives him a device with a button to push, which will alert them of Bob's presence. So now in the therapy session, Calvin's horrified to see Bob playing doctor. He tries to leave, but Maggie makes him stay, and he knows he can't tell her why he wants to leave, so he remains in place. The therapy session gets weird quickly, but Maggie's buying it as a realistic session that the two desperately needed. Finally, when Calvin's had enough, she thinks he doesn't want to work to save their marriage.
I had nothing to do with this.
Well, she leaves, and Bob says she'll forgive him once they save the world. But Calvin threatens him with the button, and eventually, Bob convinces Calvin to help him, promising that he's on the right side of this fight. So Calvin goes to the one person who can help him get the transaction number, Trevor, Bob's high school bully. In the office, Bob isn't doing too hot, trying to keep his cool, but it's clear that Trevor still has power over him. Meanwhile, Trevor acts nice, even though he's probably still not such a stand-up dude. Trevor attempts to make a conversation with Bob, but Bob can't even get a word out. Before giving him the numbers, he starts telling him that he found God, before apologizing to Bob. Then the true colors emerge. He tells him he doesn't give a damn about what he did. If anything, he's proud of it. He starts berating Bob, and while Calvin thinks that Bob can take him, he's unable to. He shuts down and leaves. Calvin tells Trevor he's he doesn't care, but at least he gives him the transaction number. Now on the way out, Harris phones and threatens Calvin, telling him they're about to charge Maggie with conspiracy. They tell him to get Bob outside and get ready for them to come and get him. Now outside, Bob apologizes for what happened, telling him that he was the only one who was ever nice to him before telling him that he doesn't have many friends. He promises to never betray Calvin because he is his only friend. But then Calvin drops a bomb by apologizing and revealing that he told Harris where they were. The CIA arrives and takes Bob and Calvin.
I'm sorry.
Now at an undisclosed location, Harris tries to get answers from Bob. Calvin hears him being tortured and then decides enough is enough. He knocks out an agent, takes the gun, and pulls it on the others, demanding a key card. He ties him up and goes to get Bob. He walks into the room and Bob immediately lights up before putting Harris in cuffs. She tells him he's making a mistake, but he argues only if he's wrong. Now on the outside, Calvin has to contend with Bob, who's not feeling himself and says he's not a spy. He's just Robbie the Tool. He tells him that he's not. He's Bob Stone. But he just tells him that name means nothing because it's made up. Well, Calvin tells him that he's got the name Golden Jet after peeing his pants while running, and he made that name his own in a positive way. He convinces Bob, and they're about to shake on it when he sees Bob's broken finger. Ow.
See? Good as new.
The two conduct a daring escape. Calvin gets a little too excited, enjoying beating up some agents, forgetting he's committing a crime. And as they're about to escape, Calvin tries to use the key card he took, but it's not working. An agent holds a gun to his head, and Bob saves the day and rams the guy into the door. Now they escape and grab a car after Bob destroys the other car, and they drive away as they're being shot at. Now Bob gives him a phone in the car and tells him to take the codes and put them into a map to find out where to go. The location is Boston, meaning they need a plane. So they go to the airport, and Bob tells them that they need to steal a plane.
You ever steal a plane before?
While Calvin distracts the security guard, Bob literally pulls the plane from the hangar. So the two fly to Boston, and while flying, Calvin thinks Harris is the Black Badger. They arrive at the destination, but things don't feel right. Calvin thinks it's too exposed. Then he spots a parking garage and tells Bob it's happening below him. Bob suggests splitting up, but Calvin rejects the idea. He tells him to call him if something happens.
I'll see you on the other side.
So Bob heads to the parking lot, and it's like they were expecting him. Calvin sees Harris pull up, so he goes after her. He runs out, and Bob shoots him. As he's about to give the buyer the package, Phil comes out of nowhere and reveals he's the Black Badger. Bob says he's lying. Meanwhile, Calvin comes to and realizes Bob only nicked his neck. He hears Bob reveal he's the Black Badger, but then he hears Phil say he's the Black Badger.
I might be the Black Badger.
Well, Harris interrupts them and starts firing. Everyone's shooting. And Calvin sees the drives on the ground. Against his better judgment, he runs out and grabs him. Calvin nearly gets shot but runs off. He gets chased by the buyer, and he's about to be hit by the car, but Bob saves him again. Calvin keeps running, and on the bridge, Bob sneaks up on him. Then Phil comes out of nowhere, again. The two try to convince Calvin that they're innocent. Then they start shooting at one another. Calvin shoots Bob and tells Phil not to move, but then he reveals the ammunition is out. He throws the gun at Phil, but then he catches it and reloads. He tells Calvin there's no way it couldn't be Bob because he's too weak. We get the real version of what happened the night he faked his death, and boy oh boy, Phil didn't like Bob. Calvin's told to get on his knees, but he attempts his golden jet flip again. Well, he fails obviously, but it was a distraction.
Then why'd you do it?
Because Bob comes up from behind Phil and literally tears out his trachea before pushing him into the river. As they leave, Bob tells Calvin he's perfect for the CIA, before saying they need to hurry and give Harris the codes so they can get to the reunion. And the two arrive in style, Harris thanking him for what he did for his country. She tells Calvin if he wants a career change, he should give her a call before leaving. Maggie runs up to Calvin and asks what is going on. And when Bob says hello, she asks why the therapist is here. He introduces himself and tells Maggie the truth about the CIA mission and everything. Well, she doesn't buy it. Calvin tells her that he's happy with his life because of her, and she doesn't care about the rest, so the two kiss.
You are what makes me special.
Now inside, Bob wants to leave, but Calvin convinces him to stay. The reunion homecoming king and queen. Bob is announced as the king, and he's confused. As he walks to the stage, Trevor decides to taunt him in front of everyone again. This time, Bob says he's sorry. Trevor pushes Bob, who then punches the hell out of him. Bob gets up there and gives a passionate speech, thanking Calvin before stripping naked in front of them all. Nobody seems to have an issue with it, and they all cheer him on. Then Bob's high school crush Darla says hello. The two flirt heavily before Bob kisses her. The weirdest high school reunion truly kicks off, and Bob is naked the whole time. Sometime later, Maggie's pregnant. Bob's waiting outside for Calvin, who's starting at the CIA. He gives Calvin a present, his old jacket from high school. The two drive off into the sunset.
Okay, so if you guys want to see more videos like these, subscribe and like the videos. And thank you for watching. Bye.